Hey guys, welcome to me reacting to Game Theory, Kirby, the Villain of Dreamland, Part 1 by the Game Theorists. Now I have not seen this, and I cannot wait to see this. So yeah, anyways guys, links in the description. Make sure to subscribe to the Game Theorists. That link's on the description. Anyways, let's get right into it.
Welcome to Game Theory, the show that hungers for the truth just as much as Kirby hungers for cake. You know, come to think of it, I also hunger for cake a lot too, though. Okay, Game Theory, cake with a dollop of truth. Dear viewer, I ask you, what is the true nature of Kirby? Now, most people would say that he's a cute pink puffball, the hungry little alien.
Didn't they figure out he was an amiibo?
Online, though, certain circles take a different view. Kirby as an insatiable god.
Oh,
a
Reddit.
Black hole with no mercy for anything that he consumes. It's funny, for years I've had a suspicion that the Kirby series is more mature than we give it credit for. I mean, it is the only Nintendo franchise to feature a naked woman after all. And if you've ever played a Kirby through, you probably know that the final bosses tend to be far more mature than any of the game that came before. As a kid, I was scarred by Kirby's Dream Land 3. One minute I'm playing in this childlike pencil-drawn world, and the next, DDD's stomach rips open like something you'd see out of The Thing.
What?
And then you have Zero's eye shattering out of his egg body only to chase you down while it's still bleeding. I mean, just a few minutes ago I was riding a freaking oversized hamster. But you gotta admit, the Kirby strategy is actually kinda brilliant. The main story is cute and easy, and kids can get a sense of accomplishment for making Wispy Woods cry for like the umpteenth time.
Oh yeah.
In most modern Kirby games now, there's deeper, more adult content hidden as a completion bonus for the hardcore gamers. The hardcore gamers who, you know, play Kirby games. As a result, you have this interesting duality that exists in Kirby games. Cute on the outside, but dark and twisted on the inside. Like a roll pop. So what is Kirby? Is he hero of pop star, or is he world-consuming villain? A pink puffball for good, or a fiery god of evil? The games tell us time and again.
I love that game, by the way. I love Kirby.
Surprisingly, Kirby lore does have an answer. Over the years, the games have slowly been revealing more and more of what the true nature of Kirby is. And the answers they're starting to give are shocking. No, Kirby is not a hero, but he's also not necessarily evil either. It's my theory that if you manage to piece together all the clues sprinkled throughout the series, canonically speaking, Kirby is a reincarnated god of destruction, the equivalent of a mindless super weapon related to some of the deadliest and scariest antagonists that have been haunting these games from the very beginning. It sounds crazy, right? We're still talking about Kirby, aren't we? I thought so too at first. But based on in-game lore bits, all of this seems to be what the designers are intending to do with this character.
Whoa! What the heck?
Theory, I don't think you'll ever be able to look at Kirby.
Hey, that's thumbnail worthy. It
may seem that Kirby's a hero because he's constantly saving his home Dreamland from multiple intergalactic threats, but upon closer inspection, you'll see one common thread across all of his stories. Kirby is the one unleashing the threats in the first place. Kirby's Adventure, the second game of the series, Kirby is on a quest to restore Dreamland. To do this, we're told that he has to collect pieces of the Star Rod, which was shattered by the evil King DDD. In truly heroic form, Kirby assembles the shards, defeats DDD, and DDD begs him to stop. Literally gets dragged across the ground as he tries to convince Kirby to stop what he's about to do. But Kirby, who you'll quickly learn is surprisingly stubborn for a pink blob, ignores DDD and goes through with replacing the Star Rod. But instead of saving everyone's dreams, this one simple act instead summons the true villain of the game, Nightmare, who needed the Star Rod as the last piece to completely conquer Dreamland. In one of Game twist endings, DDD was actually acting as the good guy the entire entire time. By destroying the Star Rod and giving the pieces to his guardians, our King Penguin here was trying to keep the powerful item out of Nightmare's evil clutches. Kirby, by assembling the rod and bringing it back, unleashes the evil that DDD had captured and contained. It's no wonder that in future games DDD is described as having a grudge against Kirby. This establishes very early on in the series that Kirby resorts to violence first and asks questions later. And it gets even worse from here. In Return to Dreamland, it's the exact same.
Here we go. Yeah.
Magalore crash lands his ship.
Exactly, and the dude is the villain.
Kirby, of course, obliges.
Yeah.
Magalore asks Kirby to go one step further by defeating the four-headed dragon Landia. What reason does he give Kirby for attacking this creature? That it's evil? That it's a threat? He actually doesn't say all that much. But Kirby doesn't need a reason anyway. He just agrees and jumps into action, beating up a dragon that he knows literally nothing about. Landia drops its prized master crown, and wouldn't you know it, but Magalore is there waiting, eager to snatch it up. The whole time he was misleading Kirby, gaslighting him, expecting our pink puffball to
he's the villain, and I knew that.
Out on Landia just so he can swoop in and grab the master crown for himself. Definitely puts him calling Kirby his hero into a whole new
true.
Again, for a second time, we see Kirby just resorting to violence, hopping directly into action without looking to see what the real facts might be. In the process, Kirby winds up injuring a lot of innocents and gives the evil Magalore exactly what he wanted and what he was unable to retrieve on his own. What another creature, in this case Landia, was trying to protect. Kirby again unleashes a villain that without his help would have never seen the light of day. Speaking of villains who swoop in at the last minute, let's talk Milky Way wishes. When the sun and moon are fighting up in the sky, one civilian speaks up with a solution. Marks. His proposed answer to this literal star war is to summon Nova, a giant space watch that
isn't there like a meme with that?
A nerdier version of Shenron from Dragon Ball.
Marks, though, is terrifying.
To harness each one's star power, making him quite literally an invading alien army to the locals of that area.
What?
And after decimating 7 planets worth of creatures, eat your heart out, Samus, Kirby successfully summons Nova. But before he can make his wish and justify all the damage he just caused across the galaxy, Kirby is betrayed by Marks, who wishes to take over Popstar, meaning that for a third time now, we see a villain taking advantage of our innocent Kirby. Kirby goes on to defeat Marks, but also has to destroy Nova in the process, leaving the universe one step back from where this quest first started, and ultimately invalidating all the bloodshed planets that he just visited.
Why didn't he just wish?
That's really the charm for Kirby, and starts to show the problems with his character. In Squeak Squad, Kirby's strawberry shortcake goes missing, and Kirby immediately jumps to the conclusion that it must be the work of King DDD. No investigation, just a pure guess that it's the king.
Bad guy.
And from there, it's straight to clobbering time, with Kirby inhaling his way through Dreamland's inhabitants who have nothing to do with the cake. Kirby doesn't even assume that they have anything to do with the cake, and yet he still feels it necessary to destroy them as he goes past. Finally, he gets to the castle where he promptly roughs up the king. Again, a huge amount of violence for some missing strawberry shortcake. And true to his ask questions later mentality, it's only after DDD is passed out on the floor thanks to the Kirby beatdown that it suddenly occurs to him, quote, "Of course DDD doesn't know anything about the cake." A bit late to figure that one out, huh, Kirby? Instead, it's revealed that the true culprits are the Squeak Squad, mouse-like thieves who stole the cake alongside a mysterious chest from DDD's castle. Thinking the chest contains his missing dessert, Kirby gives chase and, alongside the Squeak Squad, eventually opens it, which releases yet another brand new evil, this time called Dark Nebula. Once again, an evil entity that was successfully kept trapped until Kirby got involved. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, it's getting repetitive. Fool me 4 times, and well, maybe the series just needs to spice up its general structure. It's this 4th retelling of the story, though, that's especially revealing when it comes to Kirby's character. Because not only is Kirby creating the problems that he ends up having to solve, but in most of these circumstances, he has to be forced to actually take action to clean up his own messes. In Kirby's adventure, when Nightmare appears, it's DDD who literally has to launch Kirby at him in order to get him to do anything. In Return to Dreamland, same
dragons!
Magolor betrays the team, and Kirby doesn't have a clue what's really going on. I mean, look at his face. It's not until
the dragons.
The dragon you beat all to heck for no apparent reason picks Kirby up and throws him on his back that Kirby takes any action against Magolor. In Squeak Squad, it's even more telling. We literally just see someone release a galactic evil, and here's Kirby just worried about his cake. In fact, the game makes it very clear that that's the only reason he goes on to fight Dark Nebula. Quote, "The smoke envelops the Squeaks and disappears into space. How awful. At this rate, the strawberry shortcake will be lost forever." Even at the end of the game, Kirby, who just saved the universe, only is happy when his cake is returned. Put simply, Kirby doesn't act heroically on his own. He just gets pointed in a direction, sometimes good, more often bad, and just destroys mindlessly until the task is done. He's an unfocused weapon of mass destruction, not caring about good or evil or what he's fighting for, just fixated on whatever impulse strikes him in the moment. Even in a story as absurd as Epic Yarn. Does anyone remember why Kirby decided to fight the evil sorcerer Yin Yarn? It's not because he was going around turning people into yarn creatures like a hero would. It was because Kirby wanted to eat a tomato.
Kirby saw his favorite food, a bright red tomato. But when Kirby tried to eat it, a caped sorcerer appeared. "No, that's my magic Metamato." Kirby gulped the Metamato right down. Just then, a white sock around the sorcerer's neck began to glow. Then it sucked Kirby up.
In the stories we see, Kirby eventually aligns to the side of good, but it's rarely because he chooses to be good. He's the embodiment of a chaotic neutral force. Now compare his actions to those of both DDD and Meta Knight. DDD breaks the Star Rod to protect Dreamland, giving Meta Knight one of the shards to guard. The Pandora's box that successfully keeps Dark Nebula contained is housed in DDD's castle for safekeeping. And when the king loses possession of it, Meta Knight is the one who steps in to prevent it from getting opened because the game outright says he knows what's in there. These are heroic characters. Lives on the line to defeat evil, even if their methods are sometimes misguided or questionable. Even when they're at their most villainous, the intent isn't nearly as bad as it might first seem. In Revenge of Meta Knight, his whole goal for conquering Popstar is to make it less lazy. He is literally the rotten. But screw that, Kirby boards the Halberd and blows up the entire ship. When the crew decide they want to go down with their captain, Meta Knight outright warns them, "You are about to perish. I'm sorry." That is an exact quote. Again, this is in a Kirby game. And here's Meta Knight saying, "You all are gonna die." Meanwhile, here's Kirby jetting away without a care in the world, and then watches as a ship full of people crash lands into the ocean. He literally watches them die.
Oh my god!
An adorable smile on his face. It all just goes to reinforce this idea that, for as cute as he is, Kirby just isn't very nice. In the puzzle game Kirby's Avalanche, we actually get some of the best examples of how he interacts with his fellow creatures in these games, and his personality is not cute. In the game, the premise is that you puzzle battle anyone you come into contact with as you journey your way to the Dream Field. So, true to Kirby games, Waddle Dee happens to be your first opponent on easy mode. And here's your interaction with him. Kirby, "Hi Waddle Dee, are you ready?" Waddle Dee, "Can we just walk together? The forest scares me." Kirby, "Sorry, rules are rules." Here is a poor innocent creature scared in the woods, and Kirby responds with, "Too bad I have to beat you in a glorified Candy Crush mod." Even other characters in this game recognize how mean Kirby can be. A few battles later, you're fighting against Waddle Doo. Quote again, "You did not treat Waddle Dee with respect. Now I, Waddle Doo, will repay you in kind." Even the people who are trying to help Kirby end up getting steamrolled in this game. "I know what your dream is." And then Kirby just cuts him off. "Go meddle in someone else's affairs," he says. Meddle in someone else's affairs?
What?
Dude, Kirby, Squidman was just trying to help you. And sure, that game may not be canon, but you know what is? Kirby's Dream Land 3. Now, in past games in the series, you could argue that Kirby was attacking creatures because they were part of DDD's army. It's not the best argument, since relatively few actively attack Kirby, but you could make that case. Here, though, Kirby outright sees these creatures getting possessed, taken over by a mysterious dark substance from outer space. He should know that they're innocent, and yet he still chooses to swallow them, slice them in half with cutters, and stab them with swords anyway. It's just like Mario breaking the toads who'd been turned into bricks in the first game, except it's even worse, since these creatures still look like Kirby's friends and neighbors. Doesn't matter, Kirby just runs in and tells them to get in his belly. How about all those guardians I mentioned earlier from Milky Way Wishes? They were just there on their planet doing their job, protecting their star fountains, heroes of their respective worlds, but here comes Kirby, a literal alien invader who not so heroically beats them all up. And it would be one thing if Kirby actually cared about the creatures he was helping, but he doesn't. In one game, he's fighting against DDD for stealing all the food in Dreamland because the people suddenly don't have enough, but then in the next, he is literally racing DDD, consuming as much as possible. In Dynamite, the giant bird is out there damaging all the crops of Dreamland. But is that why Kirby takes on the mission? No, it's because Dynablade flies past and caused Kirby to get knocked on the head with an apple, ruining his nap and prompting a quest for bloody revenge. But even if that wasn't the case, look at Kirby's behavior in this game. Kirby fights to protect the crops, beats up Dynablade, once again asks questions later, only to find out that she had kids that she was protecting, which in turn explains all the crop business. Kirby literally delivers a beatdown.
That's dark.
Kids, something that could have very easily been avoided if Kirby hadn't run in guns blazing. And again, if you think all of this is a stretch, then I'm reading too much into these details. I'm not. The games at this point recognize the dangerous impulsiveness of Kirby, how it can be used for good, but also that it can be used as a weapon for evil. In fact, Kirby is descended from a line of evil creatures, a fact that the games are starting to make more and more explicit. So I ask again, what is the true nature of Kirby? He is a chaotic, neutral god reincarnated into multiple generations with the sole purpose of destruction. But that part is a whole discussion for next week. In the meantime, remember, that is just a theory. A game theory.
Nice. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, leave a like in the video, subscribe to my channel, and you guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!